Hello everybody and welcome to Fingers and Custard, the Explosion Network's Doctor Who Aftershow. Joining today, myself, Dylan Blight, and Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, how are we going?
Alright, we're here early on twitch.tv/Explosion Network, where you can watch the show. Be recorded live, of course, where you can watch it on YouTube and listen in on podcast services after the fact. And we're here at like 10:30 in the morning doing it today. That's
almost as early as it is.
So gotta do it. If only we could, we should get up one morning and do it 6 a.m. straight after it airs. You're like, nah, fuck that. Yeah, that's probably right. So this week's episode we're talking about is called Demons of the Punjab, directed by Jamie Child, who's done so many episodes. In fact, he's doing the season finale as well. I think he's done like 4 or 5 this whole season, so the go-to guy. And written by Vijay Patel. The synopsis for it. India, 1947. The Doctor and her friends arrive in the Punjab as the country is being torn apart. While Yaz attempts to discover her grandmother's hidden history, the Doctor discovers demons haunting the land. Who are they and what do they want? So, what did you overall think of this week's episode, Ash?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Just a fun, interesting tale. I don't think we've seen... I feel like, especially with the Rose episode earlier in the year, we're seeing a lot more globe-trotting, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like, it felt like previous seasons, if they were going back in time, or it was always back in British history, European history. Yeah. But now they've been Southern United States of America, and now India. I can't think of a single episode that has been set in Asia before, so that's pretty cool.
No, never can I. And
at least not one era.
Yeah, I don't remember. We definitely haven't seen an episode like this before. At least not. At least not in UQ. But then at the same time, I'd be doubtful that there would have been something like this. You know, back in the day. I don't know. It just.
You sure Doctor Who hasn't met Genghis Khan or the Shogun or something?
Probably has. Let's be real. Oh, Genghis Khan's a badass. Gotta have him meet Genghis Khan, apparently. I thought it was a pretty... Let me put it this way. This is how to wrap up my... Well, A, tear-jerking ending. So they get points for that. And then B, after the episode ends, I was straight into Googling... and I've chucked like a Wikipedia thing at the end of the episode because it's like... It's a set in a period of time I don't really know that much about, you know, other than Gandhi was involved, you know, like, like that's pretty much my go-to thing. And at the same time, it made me go, I haven't watched fucking, for some reason, my brain popped after the movie finished. I'm like, I haven't watched Gandhi since like high school when they made us watch it. And I don't think I even liked it because I was like 12 years old and found it boring as shit. Now I'm like, maybe I want to watch Gandhi. So I was like trying to find out if that was on Netflix. But that's, I would say a plus for the episode, you know, because it's if it's making me go, Google like an interest in the time period, I guess, then you know, considering the whole thing, and I mentioned it before, Doctor Who being designed back in the day originally as a show to teach kids about history and stuff in fun ways. So to even make me go, what can I watch? What can I quickly Google? You know, so if kids or anyone else would get the same sort of effect out of it, then I guess it's doing its job to a degree. Even though I don't, it's definitely not these days it is more of a, you know, it's trying to be a proper TV show, trying to be interesting. But at the same time, if that's an effect of an episode like this, especially when it comes to covering, because it's a British show, non-white British history, I guess, is a good thing because they do cover so much of that. Like, how many episodes have we seen Winston Churchill and whatever else, and the history about Britain's own government? So I thought it was pretty good. I had my negative overall is I think there was one or two deliveries from lines from a couple characters who which I felt were a little bit, didn't quite hit the mark. I'd say felt a little bit off, but that's fine. So it's Doctor Who. I'm not expecting BAFTAs at all points in time, but anyway, let's jump into the episode. So the episode kicks off with Yaz. I wrote Gran, but she calls her what? Do you remember what she? I think she calls it Nana or then something like that. But I just wrote Gran because the episode kicked off and that was my notes. So Yaz is there at her family's house at the start of the episode, and she's celebrating her Gran's birthday, and she is complaining about life pretty much, saying that how she was the first woman to be married in Pakistan, and now she's stuck in this wheelchair, and blah, 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 I'm getting fed this shit, she didn't say shit, but...
Getting old sucks.
She's like, getting old sucks, I was once somebody, so it's a bit of that happening, and then she goes on I might be dead soon, so he seems like a perfect point for me to whip out my bag of goodies. Apparently that she just...
My birthday, here's your presents.
Yeah, here's your presents of stuff. And she gives something to Yaz's mum, which would be her daughter. Then she gives something to Yaz's sister. And then she gives Yaz a watch. But, of course, before she says that, she says, now to my favourite granddaughter. And then... Yaz's mum tells off her for no, you can't say that, which was pretty funny.
Sure you can.
Yeah. She's like, I can pick my favourites, it's fine, it's not going to cause any problems. Well, his sister's on the phone the entire fucking time anyway. Yaz is the only one showing any interest in her life or anything like that, so yeah, too bad, get over it. So Yaz gets handed a watch, and then we cut to the
first time in a while they haven't needed a cold open.
Yes, that is true. There was no need for a cold. That is a good thing to bring up, considering I think the last 3 or 4 episodes we complained that cold open was necessary. Should have happened. But this one, if you're keeping up BBC and you want to learn from us once again how and when to do cold opens, this episode was done correctly. It's fine. You didn't need the cold open. The other ones. Yes. You did. There you go. If you wanted to do a cold open for this episode, you probably would have started with a scene of the demons or something being teased in Punjab back in time, and then the episode opening with the grandmother scene. That's how you would have done it. That's how you set up the little...
That's what happened. Yeah.
That's how you set up the little teasers. I know you're learning still. But they cut to the TARDIS, and Yaz has brought this watch into the Doctor and is pretty much saying, can you figure out what time this is from exactly and take me there? Well, she could have probably there's probably a specialist who could work this out. She didn't need to take it to the Doctor, I guess, because she goes to the Doctor and just presumes that she can work out.
There's some sort of genealogist or somebody you could talk to.
There's someone could have worked it out, but she goes to the Doctor and it's not only can you figure out when and where this came from? And then B, can you take me there? It's a very two-part, a lot of work going in there, I feel. So, the Doctor, of course, complains for a while. Says no, which is what I was talking about at the end of last week's episode. Like, why would the Doctor's always against? You can't go back, interfere with your own family, your timeline, any of that sort of stuff. You shouldn't be. But apparently, the new Doctor is.
He does a lot. Or she does a lot.
Well, yeah, that's true. But apparently, new Doctor doesn't really care. She interferes for fun. But the Doctor says that she has, yes, of course, the TARDIS has a way to put the watch into something and it'll figure out exactly where it's from and head off to there. So they head off and they arrive in 19-something or other. They don't know We know because we've got the episode synopsis, which is 1947. But they don't know where they are yet because that's the whole point of the thing, I guess. When they step out of the TARDIS, the Doctor... This is another thing that I found weird about this episode, and I didn't feel like paid off to the end, really, to have any sort of point. So as they walk out of the TARDIS and they're trying to figure out where they are and what's going on, and Graham's saying things like, oh, I thought this was a big city or whatever, but it hasn't, it's still... They're just like in the middle of a field and stuff. The Doctor is hit by this something.
A big message.
Yeah, and someone hacking her brain or some sort of thing's happening, and she, freaks out for a second. And you see all these flashes and stuff. Now, by the end of the episode, did any of this pay off, or is this something to do with some other episode?
I didn't catch any reason why this was happening.
Yeah. And it happens again. It happens twice, right? Or 2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah, a few times.
A few times, and then it does stop.
Some way that the demons are communicating, but then how is the Doctor picking it up?
Yeah. I didn't. It's one thing I really didn't understand what his point was or why it paid off. Because I'm like, is it the demons trying to... I don't know. It was really weird, and it definitely didn't pay off by the end of the episode, or really feel necessary at all for the episode, unless for some reason this has something to do with a different episode that's coming up. But I'm like, no, like they were saying it's basically the demons or whatever hacking your brain or something. So don't really know. It was weird. I don't like it. But they walk up and someone comes down on a carriage who says, who the hell are you? Oh, we're once again you got a bunch of people that definitely don't look like they're anywhere around.
They don't look like they fit in, yeah.
At all. And it's like, oh yeah, he's just managed to walk here from England. That's fine, And don't tell anyone you're from England either. Keep that on the hush. So, even though you got these thick accents and whatever else happening on.
Yeah, and look white.
And look very, well, apart from two people look very white. The Doctor and Graham. Especially Graham. Graham looks very white.
Yeah.
So they explain that they're looking for Umbring or her his grandmother, and the dude in the cart says, "Oh yeah, that's I know that person. Cool. Jump in the carriage." So they jump into the carriage, and then this dude shows up, who's we find out later a spiritual. But I presume he was going to be their priest later, or whatever would be the priest. Yeah. To help marry them is the dealio, I guess. But he's walking down the road and he has a line like, "You young whippersnappers, always in your carriages." Should be
so fast.
Yeah, always going so fast. You should learn to slow down and walk more. That's what you should be doing.
No.
But they're like, "No, mate, see you later. We got places to be, stuff to do. You can continue on with your walking." So they take off in the carriage, and the Doctor explains that she's feeling weird after the brain hack attack, whatever we're going to call it, and feels like her brain intercepted something that it shouldn't have. And as they head off, it shows a shot of what we'll know as the demons, even though they have a proper name, but the demons is honestly the easiest. Overlooking them as they're heading off. So, wrapping it back from the end of the episode to the start, we can now look at this with a little bit of spoiler stuff. The reason they're watching is obviously because they're presumably watching the Spirit Man at this point, knowing he's going to die soon. Yeah, all makes sense. They then arrive at Umbring's house. Oh, I never had to say because they cut between this house and the other house a lot, right? But it makes it often seems like they're a lot closer than they're not, because you never actually see them travel the differences between the what becomes the border, I guess. So this is her house. They arrive at her house, which is about to become India, I guess. Yes. Is that what it works out? She was on the Indian side, and
they were all Indian.
Yeah, but like after the what's about to take place with the border, and they're about to split it into. Yeah, I guess right. Because The whole thing is they're on.
You just put a stick in the middle of the river.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Here's the border. That doesn't make sense. You need to draw something.
And also, he's like, I got leaked the maps early. Where, mate? What forums were you on? Reddit?
Thank God. They mailed you.
Yeah, it's like, how do you get leaked stuff in 1947? It's a bit weird. But yeah, they arrive at her house and she's very surprised to see them. Umbreon explains that she is about to be getting married the next day, and Yaz is like, "Oh, that's exciting. My grandmother about to get married," but then points out the person she's going to be marrying is Prem, who's the guy who was on the carriage who took them down there, and Yaz quickly points out that is not who my grandfather is in the future. So she's straight away, this is a bit weird. What's going on? But also spots that he's wearing the watch that she had just been given. So she's even more confused about what the hell is exactly going on here. Even though at this point you can kind of, it's very easy to tell where the episode's headed, Even if you don't know exactly how you're going to get there, it's like, watch, not the person's, her grandma, okay, he's going to die. You can pretty much put together the few pieces there.
Unchanged? You don't know?
Well, yeah, I suppose we don't know. That would have been a boring payoff to the whole episode, though. Like if that was what it all build up to. So
what if the grandfather was horribly scarred?
Well, if he was horribly scarred, you'd think Yaz would be like, I don't really recognize him, but as far as I've ever known him, his face is horribly scarred, so probably give me a little bit of leeway, and if I don't recognize him at this point, I think that's probably a little bit different. So inside Yaz heads off with her grand, like, I'll head off with my grand to go. I can't remember what I was doing. Go to fix something. Or doesn't really matter. Graham, Ryan, Doctor, they're all standing there saying, well, we're here now, so might as well see what's happening. They run inside the house, and everyone inside Umbreon's house is listening to the radio, and they're listening in as they're talking about the partition of India going to be happening or taking place. Or it's just got passed or something along those lines, They're pretty much like, shit's about to go down, lock your doors, stay safe. Be prepared for the worst. And then you've got the brothers who, when they head down to the river, which is what you were just talking about, who the brother, Prem's brother has gone to already sticking up the borders because he's got them leaked ahead of time. He knew what was going to happen, even though it was just announced on the radio, but he somehow got it leaked, yes. And he's putting this border, and of course Prem's telling his brother, well, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you so up your ass about putting these borders in? And they get into a little bit of a family argument, but it is interrupted when off in the distance, the demons, as they are referred to as, show they're just off on the side watching. They're just like, oh yeah, cool, what are we doing over here? I was trying to work out why. I'm like, what are they watching at this point? Are they watching because they were there and we didn't see that the religious man or the spirit man or whatever they was calling him was somewhere there? Or is he already dead and now they're watching Prem at this point because they're like, he's the next person dead? I guess they're watching Prem at this point?
Yeah, because they must have killed him before he got to...
Yeah, like he must have killed him. He's like, oh, I'll go shoot this guy with my rifle.
Put my border up first, and then I'm going to go kill this priest.
Who's on my side of the border now. Yeah, so...
Yeah.
Maybe it's...
On the other side.
What is law when I've put stick down? Now I can dictate who I kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... yeah, I suppose that makes sense. So they chase after the demons... or the doctor's crew plus Prem chase after the demons into the bushland up ahead, and they what would you call it, like teleporting? I don't know. It's like
Bamfing.
Sorry.
Bamfing.
Bamfing.
Yeah, like roller.
Oh yeah. That's it. Because it is the sort of like it disappears like a circle getting sucked in. It was the same as I can't remember the fucking word for it. Like in Harry Potter, you know.
Apparating.
Apparating, yeah. It's like it was the same sort of thing as that. So that they're doing that all over the place as they chase after the demons. Well, the demons are doing that as everyone chases after them. And they chase them into the forest, and then they disappear once again. And then from behind it is revealed that the old man's body is there, and he's dead, just up against a tree. But he's also had weird purple dust substance put all over his body. Or was no. It was on his body, but it was disappearing like upwards. It was like going away weirdly.
Interesting. Now that I think about it, didn't notice a gunshot wound.
Neither did I. Although
this is pretty noticeable.
Yeah,
unless they sort of cleaned up the body when they were like doing it. I don't know.
Now that you've pointed it out, actually, if we go back and we look at the episode as a whole, and we look what we know, of course, we bring it back to he killed the old guy with a gun, and he was going to kill his brother with a gun, blah 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 blah. Now we can go, where the fuck was the gunshot wound? Because if they hadn't seen it, it would have been like, wait, nope, those aliens not involved.
The back is the only thing.
Oh yeah, well that's a bit. Although, again, the doctor should be a lot more experienced in searching bodies for possible wounds and signs.
They'll throw off by the purple stuff on his face.
Should we search for more signs of a plausible death, or will we ride it all on this purple dust stuff that I have no fucking idea about?
What it is?
Let's ride it all on the purple dust stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
the conclusions.
That's a good point. That is quite silly. Just check behind the body. Oh, there's a big fucking hole here. Is it possible that this old guy was shot by your brother, Prem? Possible. Is it possible the demons are not even connected? Well, that's a thing. That was part of the episode. So the doctor Yaz still back, heads back to say about the body, back to the house, and explain that the old man has died. The doctor, Ryan, and Prem, however, track the demons, and they find I wasn't sure if it was actually their ship, or it was something that just like a home base they stuck in the ground. Don't really know, but either way, their ship, their container, whatever, they find it in the ground, and as they're looking over it, they're teleported inside the things. Now they're inside the ship, machine, home base, whatever we're exactly calling it. So the doctor, of course, pulls out something, starts going to work, doing what she should have been doing, like checking her body for a bottle. But she gets a computer system going, and it's, then finds out, and she says it's called a I wrote it down in my notes as I hear things spelled, or how I think they're spelled, right, which I always think is funny. So I wrote down Vesarian hive, because she says Viserian hive. Later, I haven't like corrected my spelling, but it is on the Doctor Who website spelled something like THEEJAS, so I'm like, VTH, it's the same, whatever words. So the Viserians are apparently assassins, which the Doctor knows about. She's very aware of what type of species and people that they are, but she also points out that there's someone who she hasn't met before. I do feel like that line was chucked in because she was like straight away like, oh my god, these people are so bad, they're so evil, they're assassins all over the world. And instead of all the people sitting at home going, well, why haven't we fucking seen them before? We've been watching the show for like 50 years at this point. That she's like, but I just so happen to have never met them before. So cover all bases on that one. Then as we're going through the computer systems, a bit more, the old man's face pops up, which when we tie it all back, I'm like, oh, this is a good element to get them. Not really, because of course it pops up and it seems like something out of fucking Predator, where she's saying they're assassin species, old man's face pops up, that must have been their target, that must have been who they were here to kill, dun dun dun. But then it makes more sense later. They're watching. They're here to watch him. So dun, dun. Prem then explains that he has seen the demons once before in Singapore, where he was over there fighting the war, and he saw them standing over his.
By the way. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Your face of like 1940
Indian history. There could have been a civil war or something. So.
No, it was the World War. Prem explains that he had seen them before in Singapore and was standing over his older brothers, which is a brother we hadn't seen brought up until this point, I guess. And what makes sense later, where we learn that the younger brother, who's I haven't got his name here, but down further I've got his name is Marcus or something like that. So as the Doctor is playing with the computer system a bit more, the powder stuff shoots up from the computer system. I don't know. Really. It comes up like in a tube or whatever. Which once again, I feel like dragging it back to what we know later, and then looking at it, doesn't really make much sense. Why was this stuff that's so sacred to them part of their, because it's their planet's ashes or whatever? Why is that just?
Are they the only two?
Yeah, it seems like that was the thing, because it seemed like they explained they were off. Yeah, but it's like, why, if that's something that's so important, why is that?
I mean, if they're the only two left, why did they pick this? They've only got a finite amount of time to go through history and see these people off. Why did you pick this point? Where's the starting point? How do you choose the people?
They were they try and rub it off as they were watching the time waves or whatever gibberish line they throw out later, and like
how are you going back in time? I guess.
Why Earth?
Why Earth? Yeah. I
mean, if they literally do pick this point in time, it's saying that this point in time, out of the whole galaxy with all the planets and everything, has as much, if not many more, depths than the rest of the universe, I guess.
Well, they did say 1 million, so that makes sense, but...
Well, yeah, there's a lot of depths, but... So they grab the stuff, which of course sets off an alarm, and then the demons... This is the other funny thing. They have their planet's ashes, all these other people's ashes, like collected in this tube thing, and they're quite happily just leaving that not really super protected, But then they also have a security measure set up where if someone grabs it out of their really shitty Indiana Jones 1 temple like system, that they have a system set up that'll alarm them and they zap it there within a second. So maybe just put a little bit more effort into the system. But so that happens. The Doctor manages to sonic them outside and tells them all to run away real quickly. As Prem and Ryan head off in one direction, Doctor heads off in another with the canister still, and she realizes that they have all these little mini transporter things up in the forest, and that's how they're doing their whole disappearing, reappearing trip and happening. So she starts grabbing those as she's running through the forest. We then cut back to Yaz, and Yaz is explaining the death to her family of the spirit man, Yaz, the minister. I still can't remember exactly what they were calling him, but so yeah, Graham and Yaz are explaining the death to the family. Umbridge explains that she wasn't it's not going to be talked out of marriage as her mother, who at first I thought was I thought was Umbridge's grandmother, but I'm like, no, that's actually just her mother. But it was all so her mother trying to talk her out of the marriage because she thinks it's cursed and not right and all the it's not exactly going.
It's doomed though.
Yeah, it is doomed. She's right to a point because it does turn out to be it does turn out to not exactly go down well, so she's right. But Umbridge is saying she's not going to talk down marrying Prim because of her family or religious reasons, because there's the whole Muslim her family's her family her family's Hindu? Yes. And Prem's was Muslim or something, maybe.
I believe that was the correct order.
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's Muslim, and then the bad guys were Hindu.
Was it? I thought it was the other way. Okay. It was, to be fair, there for a 40-something minute episode, they throw a lot at you in the like that.
Yep.
You know, it's like this family. It was like Romeo and Juliet, but India. But
Kind of.
I guess. Yaz then heads outside and she's feeling very confused about what's happening. Graham tries to help her. Graham, this episode, just popping out words of advice to all sorts of characters and good quotable lines. Good old Graham. So then he tries to explain, live this moment and figure it out later, because Yaz is, of course, just worried and doesn't really understand what's happening. But at the same time, he feels very confused about who your grandmother's marrying. Wouldn't you just be like, I'll watch. It's time. It's happened. You're in the past. If you stay around long enough,
you'll find out.
You'll find out what exactly is happening. Yeah, there's no reason.
Getting your grandmother married.
Yeah, don't try and change history, because you may fuck it up and you'll disappear. You'll never be born. Dun, dun, dun.
But then they do get involved, and then when you think, we'll get to it, yes.
We'll get to it. So, and then he also points out that, hey, we're time traveling. We're here with your young Graham. Just, you should be enjoying it all and having a good old time, because it's crazy what we're doing. You should just be enjoying it a bit more. And then right then they hear Ryan and Prem running down the field yelling, "We've lost the which of all things to be yelling, not demons, fuck, save us, help, something." Like they're running down this side yelling, "We've lost the doctor," of all things. I'm like, okay, like isn't that like the information? Help us, something. Hello, like, and then you get to the conversation point. We've lost the doctor, but the doctor is literally 2 seconds behind you, so it doesn't even matter. Yeah. So they all get together. The doctor appears. She puts down you see her put down one of the teleporty things that she's been grabbing off trees on the bottom of the ground there at something. And then they all head off into the barn. And inside the barn, the doctor puts down another one of the teleporty, whatever the things. Whatever they are. Puts them in there, and the demons zap in, of course, and they tell the doctors to stop trying to interfere with their work and to give back the tube, which rightfully, when we do learn later, the doctor should be giving back their people's ashes. She very much in the wrong in this episode, I feel. So then, but the doctor does explain that she's used their trick and set up a barrier to stop them being able to get into the barn, and sets off the Sonic somehow activating all the things, and of course the demons are zapped away. And she then explains that they only have X amount of hours before the demons will be able to work out how to hack their way through this. I don't know what they do. Work it out, of course. Later they somehow hack the transporter device thing in the barn so much they hack it so hard it wobbles and falls off or something. Like it goes red and wobbles and falls off. I was like, okay. So the doctor's now trying to work out what the purple stuff is, and has no luck. She's sonicking it. The sonic is pulling up nothing. It's really confusing.
A remnants of a doomed planet.
Yeah, it's not it's not going to be in your scientific chart. It's a little bit more than much. But I mean, at this point, they're still dead set think it's poison or something. So. Yeah, trying to work out what it is, I guess. Then you do have this funny line about she's like, "Oh, I'll need these bunch of items," and some of the items she says, "I'll need chicken poo, yolk spit, and a biscuit." And then Ryan asks why she wants a biscuit, and she just says, "I like biscuits." So that was there wasn't too many jokes in this episode. Also, I feel, especially even compared to episode. Like Rosa was episode whatever. Even compared to Rosa had more jokes in this episode, I feel.
Yeah.
Rosa was super serious, of course, especially the last 10 minutes. Rosa had more jokes in this episode.
It's a funnier subject matter.
Is it?
No.
Oh dear. So the doctor's trying to work it out, but then she sets up some sort of, I don't know, scientific experiment to try and with yolk spit and chicken poo and whatever the hell else she's called for to try and work out what what exactly is going on. Then the women all head off to be together, and the men all get called off to head off together, which I just took as some sort of pre-wedding day. Like, this is. I know we're in the middle of fucking nowhere and we're in a barn and whatever, but still, let's segregate. Yeah, let's segregate the genders and do the bucks parties or whatever you're going to be doing at this point. And then it cuts to the doctor sitting around with the rest of the women in a circle having, I don't know, chit chat, and the doctor, of course, just straight out says, "I never did this as a man," which was. Quite funny because everyone's looking at her, and then I didn't write down the line quite exactly, but then she rubs it off. Oh, don't mind my gender jokes about just something rather. It's just me having a bit of a laugh.
Yeah, gender regeneration.
Yeah, don't mind my gender regeneration jokes. It's just a bit silly. Yes, that was a moment. It was pretty funny.
That was a few jokes.
Yeah, that was this 5 to 10 minute period here. They're like, we'll get in a couple. We're just getting a couple good jokes here happening. But then when they cut back to the men's side in a second anyway, it all goes down once again of religious fights and whatever the fuck else is happening. So Umbring's mum tries to explain to that she should get that's what I nicknamed her in my notes as well. I just put that's fine. I'm sure that's fine. That she needs to get a good Muslim man. None of this fucking garbage over here with Prem, piece of shit. And then of course they've lost their spirit religious priest. I don't really whatever. Once again, so Umbrine asks the doctor if she would marry. Do the honour tomorrow because she's a doctor, and the doctor. They've never been over this before as well. This is another thing. I'm like, have they ever gone over this? Could the doctor marry people? And the doctor says. Yeah, I guess I can marry people. I think that's in my thing. But at the same time, she's not even a real doctor, so it's all...
Okay, so if the doctor hadn't been there, who marries them?
I guess they would have done it with no one?
I guess.
I guess. I mean, yeah, no, that's one of the things is like, as soon as the doctor gets...
Or were they always predestined to be here?
Dun, dun, dun. That's like some Fringe level shit.
I know.
That's what that is. Maybe they were always predestined to be there. Yeah, maybe that's what the timeline is. This is how the timeline is and forever will be. Don't know, but it is one of those things you have to think about whenever someone gets so closely. Because of course, if the doctor was still just off on the side watching while everyone else, you can get away with. They're just there. They're watching. They weren't heavily involved. However, yes, when we do get to the wedding, Yaz and the doctor both do things that are heavily involved. So it does make you wonder. But yeah, the doctor agrees, much to Yaz's dismay, because the Yaz is going, I thought you said we don't get super involved in what's happening. And then the doctor's like, just a little bit. Oh, even though I just took it as the doctor's like, oh, that sounds like fun, something I haven't done before. Yeah, sure, I'll initiate a marriage. It's fine, I'll do that. All good. So then we cut over to Prem and his brother. They're arguing about Pakistan versus India as, well, what is like the borders that are becoming and such nonsense. And so it was like, there is so much back history packed into this episode that there's no wonder when it finished I was like, fuck, I feel like I need to read something or watch a movie about the same subject matter that could do a better job. Because so I'm saying my knowledge of any of this is very little. Like I know it's a thing that happened, and I know Gandhi was against it. That's pretty much my really naive knowledge about this period in time to a degree. So yeah, a lot of stuff they're talking about, I feel like I do often wonder especially for the kids show aspect of the thing. It's like, are they watching it being very confused, or are kids watching it and then going, Mum, Google India set a partition for me after the show. Please help me out. Throw me a book. No, you're 8. You don't want to read about this. It's a horrible massacre that happens. That's fine. Give me the book. I'm a child. I've got the internet. You can't hide the violence from me. So they, after that, I assume this is the next morning because it just cuts the doctor and everyone in the barn after the fighting later. But also, quick note on another thing. Prem talking to his brother and all that, even though at that point it feels like his brother is so... where is his fucking name? Manish, there we are. So, he's so set on... Is he so set on killing his brother? Is he not? If at what point... If he's dead set on knowing that he's probably going to kill his brother tomorrow, he's just happily partaking in this Bucks party night and happening and being like, yeah, it's fine. It's not a big deal. It's got to do what you got to do. Yeah, the doctor's crew the next morning gather in the barn, and the demons break the lock on the transporter thingies, and they zap in, or however we're using it, they nightcrawler in, and they take back their vial thing, and head back to their ship. And then they also grab the doctor and zap her back to their ship hub thing as well. And they explain that they're no longer assassins, and that they were, once were assassins, of course, and the Doctor was right to think they were assassins, but Doctor's notes on them has not been updated, apparently. So, got to update your alien encyclopedia there. They explain that as they were away hunting at one point, they returned and their planet was destroyed. So, to me, in my mind, it played out like, here's 2 hunters, they're off somewhere, and they're coming back to their home planet of Krypton, and Krypton's blown up. And these are the last remaining Kryptonians, apart from Clark Kent, Supergirl, and all the, you know, like, are they the last 2? As far as they're aware. But there could be more, is how I took it, I guess. Yeah. Because there could have been other assassins off on different, like, they don't know. They wouldn't have had a tracking, I guess. So they somehow managed to gather up this dust of their planet and everyone who was on it, I guess, and put it into this vial. Somehow. I don't know. Does dust float in space? Does dust just disappear? What happens to planet's dust?
Yeah, in space it floats, or just is there.
It's there. And then they wound down the window and their ship held out a glass. Just...
Yeah, I guess. I was going to say they use a vacuum, but I don't think that works in space.
No, yeah, I don't think vacuums work in space, but it's fine. Yeah, so then they show that the next person target they're here to view is Prem. The Doctor then asks who actually killed the Holy Man, and they show the Doctor who it is, but we don't see. We don't see, and it cuts to the Doctor being zapped back into the barn, and the Doctor begins to explain that Prem is going to die today, and then, you know, there's nothing they can do about it. Much to this point where Yas is growing to like Prem, and Yas is like, oh no, we gotta stop it, but the Doctor rightfully is like, there is a line, yes, I can officiate the wedding, no, we can't stop the wedding. This whole season, though, several episodes now, once again, like with the Rosa one, it's like they just have to be...
They have to let things happen.
They have to just let things happen, which I don't know if that's going to end up being the overall theme for the season, maybe. You know, like, that's the teaching lesson that they sometimes can't stop. And if you want to fucking wind in your wild fish fishing rod theory of Graham being killed, and they have to just let that happen for some particular reason.
Yeah.
It's...
Or at one episode near the end, maybe for the season finale, they actually do mess something up that they shouldn't have. A paradox or something.
Possibly. And then the Doctor's like, well, didn't you learn all those times that we let Rosa Parks be fucked off and that whole racist shit go down, and that time that we had to watch your original grandmother's husband being shot? You should have just let it happen. But maybe if it is something like a more important person like Graham or someone, then maybe they interfere. I don't know. Even though, I'm going to put it out there once again, like I said last week, no, Ash, that is a crappy theory. Don't kill Graham. I'll ban the show from this Explosion Network. We're not talking about it anymore. Can't kill Graham. They can't do it.
Don't talk about it anymore. Let's move on.
Yeah, the Doctor's... Graham's the best person on the show. That's all I'm going to say. Well, Doctor's pretty good. Graham's the best, though. So yeah, then they cut to they're back inside the house again, and the radio is talking about the outbreaks of violence happening in different parts as the partition takes place. I guess the violence is picking up. Pretty much the radio is saying violence is picking up. Be careful, stay inside. Whatever. Make sure you do what you need to do. Dash in chat just said #kill Graham. He's a piece of shit too. Graham and Ryan talk to Prem in the morning about the sounds of violence off in the distance and all sorts of stuff, and Prem is very much like it's just I presume that off a little bit further that we never see there is a village close by or something like that, like through the other side of the forest. It sounds like there is an actual village where people live, and where the episode takes place is kind of in these farmhouses off to the sides, I guess. But Prem saying it's just normal people losing their minds, being torn apart because they're basically being told that they have to be torn apart, which is what it boils down to. I mean, as far as I'm aware, it's a religious, political tearing apart of a country and stuff. Graham, once again, and the reason we can't kill him, in with the hot advice, Ash, in with the great lines, he says, all we can hope to be is good men. And then he tells Prem he's a really good man and hugs him. You want to kill that, Ash? You want him to die?
No, I don't want him to die.
You want to kill him, Ash? You want to kill fucking Graham, the best character, the best new character in the show? Yous all fucking suck.
The greatest thing burn bright quickly.
No, Ash, stop. So then we cut to the wedding, which is taking place. I wrote in the field, but then when I was looking back at it later, I'm like, are they getting married literally on the border or something?
Yeah, hit the border that might not be the border.
Well, yeah, the border that he got leaked through 1947 Reddit is the it's fine. I'm sure Manish made zero faults. It's all fine. In the field, though, Umbreen does say the thing about how she's going to be the first woman married in Pakistan. Which is true. We do find out because she is married and then he dies.
Oh, yeah, the border was accurate then.
These leaks, Ash, they're top level Reddit leaks that he got about borders. The doctor begins the ceremony talking about her. She's like, and what I believe in, which is the power of love, which sounded like something from the fucking Powerpuff Girls or something, or Captain Planet. Have you heard of my religion? Love. It's a great one. And those other two turn around and go, love isn't a real religion. We're part of real religions, lady. Shut the fuck up.
There's only room for two religions here.
Yeah, there's only room for get your love religion out of here. We can't handle it as well. Then, they go through the whole process. The doctor pretty much talks about how, they love each other, the most powerful people on earth right now because of how much they love each other, etc., etc., etc. And then Umbreen asks Gaz to tie their hands together, and Gaz agrees, which Gaz then points out is a Hindu thing, like questioning, like why. And she's like, no, we'll just do it. It's fine. We'll do what needs to do. A lot of they do a lot of combining of the different. This whole episode's about religions don't matter, do what you want. But then the people who are like super, our religion, fuck yours, come in, they kill people, it's horrible. Grandpa Graham, if they had to run down the hallways after, his arthritis will hold them back. No, Dash, you're wrong. Graham is a bus driver who works out, and he's a superstar. He's basically an action man. He is an all-star. He knows everyone. And what's more powerful than a bus driver? No one, because he knows everyone. That is his special skill. There's nothing he can do. So back at the houses, the doctor follows I missed something. They go back to the house. Umbreen is trying to hold out a line of hope, friendship, I don't know, family. She's like, I just married into your family, let me try and become friends with you, Manish. And she talks about how he helped out while Prem was away, food, all these sorts of things. Hey?
We'll work in the fields together.
Yeah, we did all this stuff together. Why can't we just all be friends now? We're all part of the same family, etc. But then Manish spits it and he says it's all useless for what's to come anyway. Like, this whole ceremony is bullshit. You're wasting your time. And then he heads off. Prem then gives Umbream the watch, saying he'll now do a Muslim thing. But then, of course, the watch is dropped. It breaks. And then Prem's mum over in the corner pretty much does the biggest eye roll of like, "Use the fucks! It's cursed! Damn!" But Umbream, it's so funny because here, the young version, very much like, "It's no big deal, the watch is broke, we've just sealed our moment in time together," ties it back perfectly with like the cherry on top of, like, makes it all okay. But then we know her as the old lady at the start of the episode who's like, "Fucking first woman married in Pakistan, now look at me." This shit sucks. Very different people. I feel like, what time does to you, Ash, as you grow older. So then the doctor heads off after Manish and catches him, who's picking up a rifle, Prem's rifle, I presume from when he was in the war, and begins threatening and pointing at the doctor, and she begins asking about his motives to do what he's doing. Manish tells the doctor to leave because there's people coming, and then you can hear horses off in the distance, which I was like, they're still like 10 minutes away. These horses are very, loud at this point. The difference between where the doctor is with him and everyone else in the room, I'm like, if they were that loud, surely everyone heard the fucking horses coming at this point. But anyway, it doesn't matter. She asks who's coming. He responds, "The future." So then they head back. The doctor tells them, of course, there's people coming. Go back to the house, pack stuff, do what you need to do. Yaz heads back with Umbreach to a house to gather things. Yaz spots a map on the wall which has a spot circled or like dotted or something like that on it, mapped out, but it happens to be Sheffield. She asks why Sheffield is pointed out on the map, and Umbreach explains that she randomly clicked a place and she wants to go one day, and she picked Sheffield because it sounds very fancy and luxurious, and that's funny, of course, because it is funny sometimes how you can find places, especially if you, back in those days, you don't have Google Maps. You have Reddit to get your leaks online, to do with maps, but you don't have Google Maps yet.
No.
So you can't look up exactly if a place is what it's going to look like. So Sheffield sounds. And I was trying to think, I'm like, if I didn't know what Sheffield was like today, would Sheffield sound luxurious? And I came to the answer of no. Though, I'd say it's like Sydney sounds fancy. You go there, it's a shithole. Like it's the same sort of thing, I think. So yeah, Prem, they all get back together, all that stuff. Prem then sends Umbream and her mum off and says, run across the border, get to the other side, because if they get to the other side of the Reddit leaked borders, then they're going to be safe. That's what the problem is. These people are coming to basically get people off their land who shouldn't be, is what it comes down to, of course. Or kill anyone who shouldn't be there with this, the partition taking place.
Yep.
Prem then heads out to his brother, and the doctor and everyone heads off kind of in the same direction as Umbream and her mum, but Prem heads off to talk to his brother. Manish explains that he should be with his brother should be on his side. He should be with India, and that's the side he should be on. Prem is pointing out that there shouldn't be sides, and it's stupid because they were all, until recently, all the same people. And it's just chucked up in the thing. And then he also points out that one of the dudes on the horses is someone he thought was in the war, and he says a line about how we made a really good team, and now you're doing this. And Manish says that this is what his brother fought for in the war, and Prem says it's not what he fought for in the war, though. So it's very Prem coming off on the high ground here. Of course, the Watchers suddenly appear in front of the Doctor and everyone who they're watching what's taking place, which signifies that shit's about to go down. And Prem begins making a final play. Also, really good. This one little tear he has run down is like one or two single tears. I was like, oh dear, you're just adding the nail to the coffin here. And then, of course, the Doctor and everyone turns around, starts walking off, and you hear a shot go off, and yeah, Prem's dead. Bye, Prem's dead. I nearly say Prim every time because it's the fucking Hunger Games, but I guess I can't get it over here. So back on the task, Yaz is asking the Doctor about her gran, wanting to make sure that she's okay, and the Doctor's like, yeah, she's fine. Like, the timeline's fine, everything went as it needed to be, so it's no problem. And then after that, we cut to Yaz back at home, talking to her gran again, who's looking over Yaz's hands, and points out that the Hindu, I don't know, whatever.
Like Kenum or something.
Yeah, like that. I don't know the actual word for it, though, but the design stuff from the wedding. Is it? Okay. Yeah. The design stuff on a hand is crap, which of course is funny because they had the line earlier where Umbream's mum was calling the design stuff for her wedding crap, and now the stuff that she's looking at on Yaz's hand is of course from her wedding, and she's calling it crap. So that was funny, tied together. She then offers to tell the story of the watch to Yaz, but Yaz says no. Save it for another time. And then we cut to the credits with sad music playing, and it was overall
Indian version of the theme song.
Yeah, which was very cool. Thing. I had I'll go over it in a sec, but I was gonna say the music was really cool. But before we get to last thoughts on the episode, what are you going to rate this week's villain, the Fajarians?
Maybe like a 6. They're fine.
Villains, quotation marks.
Villain, quotation marks, all fine. The design was pretty cool. I like with the lots of eyes that look pretty effective, but they didn't really do much.
No. They look cool, but at the same time, I was like, was their mouths supposed to, like, where, you know, it's one of those things where they've got this giant helmet on or whatever, but then they have teeth shooting up and they're talking, and I'm like, is the reason that there's no movement there because of budget or, you know, something like, there's no, that was weird. They did look cool though. They were scary to start off with, but then of course they weren't scary. I'll give them a 7. No, that's a, hold on. I'll give them a 6. Because we're rating them as villains, not characters. And if they actually were full to the end villains, then obviously I'd say, and they actually turned out to be assassins and fucking killed Prem, then okay, a bit more interesting. They started off really interesting as villains. Then they were interesting as characters, but not as villains, I guess. But then at the same time, if they showed up again in the past when they were actually assassins still, like if the Doctor travelled to somewhere where their species was still assassins, I would still find them interesting because they look cool, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll give them a 6.
But what about the real villain of this episode?
What are you?
Religious prejudice.
You're damn right. I already had that ready to bring up. What are you rating this week's real villain, Ash? Religion.
Yeah, that's a 10.
That's a 10. That's also a 10. That's a high 10. This is high 10. I like the idea that I don't know if you knew it was coming, but after I did it in the fucking Roser episode, but it had to happen again. Final thoughts on the episode, though. I was going to say that it's a really great episode. Historical context once again. And as I pointed out at the start, it made me really interested in wanting to look things up. So that was, of course, cool. Wanting to learn stuff. The villains, assassins, as we just said, were fine or whatever. Really sad. Once again, feels ending. And then the music, I thought, overall for this episode was really, really good. Like, including the ending song, but then all the other stuff. There was a lot of music throughout this episode that I found was quite good. Not, probably, I'd just chucking it out, I'd probably put it at, second favourite episode of the season so far, I guess. Of course, under Rosa. So, How about you?
Yeah, it's at the higher end. I mean, there's been a long run of pretty solid episodes since the second episode, which was bad. But yeah, it's good. Again, like a tale we haven't seen, or a setting we haven't seen before on Doctor Who.
Yeah,
yeah,
I like it. And the other thing I was going to say, thoughts on next week's episode. Once again, the 30-second trailer. Like, I really got
nothing
really going for it. But I will say that this was episode 6. We've only got 4 episodes left. It is interesting, I feel, and if we're building up to the, I can't remember the exact species name, but if we're building up to seeing Tim Shaw's whatever people as villains again show up, then surely they have to get mentioned again some point soon, because of course episode 1 they're there, episode 2, which is, as far as I'm concerned, still the worst episode of the season, but they are mentioned again there, which then when was doing the episode about episode 2 was saying, oh, surely they're going to be the overall big bad of the season then, if they're going to be in different parts of the galaxy. And after episode 2, I did think that the season was going to end up being a thing mostly about them turning up on planets where they had done something. And like that was going to be the theme to build them up to being this really bad new villain or whatever. But I haven't seen them mentioned since episode 2, since they saw them there.
Behind everything though.
Hey, well, yeah, but they're behind Rosa Parks.
No, maybe they released that guy who was causing all the problems. Maybe they destroyed this guy's planet. I mean, who knows?
This is true. This could very much turn out to be true. We'll find out very soon, though. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Fish, Fingers and Custard. This is an Explosion Network show. Of course, you can head on over to twitch.tv/Explosion Network if you want to watch it live. We record it live, and if you want to watch it later in the video form, it'll be on YouTube. It'll be on the website, of course, explosionnetwork.com, and you'll be able to find it on all good podcasting services, your Spotify, your Apples, and the other ones after that point. No, that's it. We just... Pocket Cast is what I use. There's the third one there for you. Lock it in. So, however you want to listen to and or watch Fish, Fingers and Custard, there are the options for you there. You can follow me on Twitter at Vivaldil, Vivaladil. You can follow Ashley on Twitter at AshleyHobby, ASHLEYHABLEY. You can follow Explosion Network on Twitter at ExplosionPod. And once again, make sure you head on over to the website. Check out our other great shows and content. Until next week, what's this week's sign-off, Ash?
Be kind to other people of religions, not yours. Oh. Love is powerful, man. Love is powerful.
That's a good one. Lock that one in.
Love is my religion.